If you've ever bought a battery online, or even just thought about building one yourself, you absolutely need to stick around for this. We're going to see exactly how the budget battery market deceives people, and more importantly, how pure grassroots engineering can completely outsmart those scammers layer by layer. Okay, let's dive right into this. Think about it. Have you ever actually stopped to wonder what is inside that sleek, shrink-wrapped battery powering your ride? I mean, most of us just assume we've bought a reliable energy source, right? But here's the harsh reality. Many budget commercial batteries are totally opaque. You literally can't see inside them, you can't repair them, and when they inevitably fail, you're just left holding a sealed, unrepairable fire hazard. It's a completely blind transaction.
And it gets worse when you go online to source your own components. You think you have options, right? You might say to yourself, well, I'll just avoid the cheapest option and buy the premium one. Problem solved. But e-commerce marketplaces give you a total illusion of choice. You're usually forced to pick between a cheaply priced counterfeit and a more expensive, physically identical counterfeit. That's it. They're deliberately targeting naive buyers who think paying a higher price magically changes the physical reality of the product. Spoiler alert, it really doesn't.
Which brings us to the core issue, the blind box scam. Because the final product is completely sealed, practically every single component inside a commercial battery at a normal price point is a low-cost fake. The sellers know you can't verify the internals, so they mask these dangerous subpar materials with fake safety certificates. We're talking about Photoshop templates they just downloaded and printed out. You're basically trusting a child labor supply chain's graphic design skills instead of actual engineering. Crazy, right?
So let's look at Section 1, real copper versus toaster wires. Now, what's really interesting here is what happens when we tear down the first major component layer, the bus bars. These are the metal strips connecting the battery cells. And man, we find a massive hazard. Online scammers constantly sell these thin, plain steel strips and market them as pure nickel or nickel-covered copper. But here's the physics of it. Steel has extremely high electrical resistance. When your e-bike is pulling heavy current, like going up a steep hill, these steel strips act exactly like the glowing heating wires inside a kitchen toaster. They are literally baking your battery from the inside. On the flip side, pure raw copper, it stays ice cold, even under massive electrical loads.
This highlights a brilliantly empowering philosophy from the open build movement, engineering the helplessness out of the consumer. Because the online market is absolutely flooded with these dangerous fakes, a smart builder is basically forced to find local, upcycled solutions. And the beautiful irony, upcycled local trash is vastly safer and more capable than the so-called professional parts you can order online. It completely puts the power back in your hands. So, instead of ordering mystery metals and hoping for the best, local builders use a process called binungkag. It translates to dismantled or salvaged. The steps are incredibly straightforward. Step 1, you scavenge a discarded refrigerator cooling tube from local construction or demolition scrap. Step 2, grab a hammer and flatten it out. Step 3, drill holes for your connections. Boom, you've just transformed local trash into a pure, high-grade copper bus bar. Let's apply some simple kitchen table logic to this. A refrigerator simply cannot function with fake, high-resistance scam materials. Its cooling tubes must be highly pure copper to transfer heat effectively. By scavenging that tube, taking a hammer, and flattening it yourself, you completely eliminate all material ambiguity. A scam seller can easily lie on a spec sheet, but physics cannot lie to you. The hammer and the drill guarantee your safety. Moving on to Section 2. Let's talk about surviving the tropical humidity trap. Okay, so let's see how all this builds into the overall safety of the battery pack. Insulation is critical, especially when we talk about material selection in harsh tropical environments where humidity just sits around 85%. Online forums will constantly tell you to use fish paper to insulate your cells. But guess what? The budget fish paper sold online is almost always a counterfeit sandwich of cheap plastic and craft paper. In a humid workshop, that fake paper core acts like a wet sponge, literally soaking up the moisture in the air. Now compare that to a flattened PET water bottle, which is engineered from day one to be an absolute moisture barrier. So, the crucial point is how this actually behaves in the real world. Let's simplify the technical jargon for a second. Hygroscopic degradation? That just means the fake paper drinks water from the humid air and secretly turns conductive, quietly draining your battery. Dielectric strength? That's just the material's ability to act as an electrical shield.
If a cell ever vents or sparks, the fake paper acts exactly like a candle wick. It accelerates and spreads the fire. Plain PET plastic, on the other hand, just melts away. It absolutely refuses to act as a wick. To put it all together, here is why upcycled PET from a standard recycling bin drastically outperforms online counterfeit paper. Number 1, it's an absolute moisture barrier that just laughs at tropical humidity. Number 2, it perfectly retains its electrical shield. Number 3, there is no hidden paper wick to act as a fire accelerant. And finally, with just a little bit of heat, it seamlessly and violently heat shrinks to the battery frame, locking everything together with immense mechanical force. And this brilliantly illustrates our final section, the ebike philosophy. The material choices we just looked at perfectly showcase the overarching grassroots philosophy that makes building an unscammable battery a reality. This is known as the ebike method. HI stands for hanagdao, scavenging proven materials from the local waste stream, like our fridge pipes and water bottles. BI is benunkag, dismantling the trash identity of that object, completely bypassing the information asymmetry of the scam market. And KI is kinuti, meticulous, obsessive hand engineering. Replacing blind box scams with local scavenging isn't a compromise. It is mathematically and physically a vastly superior engineering choice. Ultimately, the builder is forced to create these local, upcycled solutions because relying on their own two hands provides absolute proof of safety. This is radical transparency. When you compress your own scavenged plastic and you hammer your own scavenged copper, you create a system that is completely transparent to inspect and impossible to fake. There is no way an online seller can match the absolute certainty of materials you extracted yourself. Which leaves us with a pretty vital question to ponder. If your power source is sealed in a plastic box, filled with mystery metals and fake paper that you can neither see nor verify, do you really own it? Or are you just temporarily renting a hazard? By understanding the anatomy of these scams and applying the ebike philosophy, you can engineer the helplessness right out of the equation. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and definitely keep questioning what is inside the box.